Hey y'all, it's week 3 and I have so much to tell you. You might be wondering, how did Rainey move to Dallas without a car? I don't know if I mentioned that, but I moved here without a car. So regardless of whether you want to move to Dallas or another city, I want to talk to you about some things that you should be thinking about and the things that I did in order to make moving to Dallas work for me without having a car. I also wanted to give you an update on the delivery and where my stuff is at this moment. And then lastly, I really want to show you my week 3 reveal. There are some pretty significant changes, so let's get to it. So before I moved to Dallas, I did some really deep thinking, and I had to think about trading my comfort short term for my purpose long term. I am committed to never be house poor, meaning house mortgage poor ever again, or rent poor ever again. And right now, the cost of the move, the uncertainty of what my next step is going to be in terms of my job or my business, I had to make some tough decisions. So here's some things I really want you to think about. And here's some things that I've been thinking about or that I'm thinking about now and have thought of in the past in order to make these decisions. So number one, I want you to decide what's important to you based on your lifestyle. The location that I live at right now, the first thing that I did research on is how far is this location from church? That was my number one priority. It didn't matter. I'm not thinking about a job. I'm not thinking about my favorite restaurant. I'm not thinking about being near the arenas and all that stuff. Although I did look downtown and in certain areas, but I had to think about how easy is it going to be for me to get to my place of worship without a car within a 10-mile radius. So that was really what's important to me. I had to think about the fact that I work from home 100% of the time, and so I don't have to go into a physical office, and that I know who I am. I get cabin fever. I want to bippity boppity boo around. I want to be all over the place. So having multiple places where I could go, different little cafes, little, donut shops and things like that. I wanted to be able to have or live in a neighborhood where I could move around and get out every now and again, as well as the complex that I live at also has places, conference center. It has a rooftop lounge, places where when I get cabin fever and I'm tired of being in my house, I could get out and move about. So I want you to think about what your day-to-day life is like, not, what you like to do on the weekends, day in and day out. What are some things that you need to have access to? Where are some places you need to have access to in close proximity? I recommend no more than 10 miles away that you can get to without a car. And that's exactly what I did. And it was easy for me to narrow down my search in terms of where I live now. The second thing I want you to think about is do a cost comparison. Some of you already have a car. You have a car note, car maintenance, you have gas, you have car insurance. I want you to write all those numbers down and do a comparison to how much it would cost you to Uber or Lyft or take a taxi to places that you frequent or need to go to without a car. So one of the things that I know about myself is even when I lived in New York, I didn't really go to the local supermarket. I pretty much went to Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and then I had my food delivered by Amazon Prime, and then I ate out a lot, actually too much. So when I did my cost comparison, what I determined was I need to be able to, as I said before, get to my place of worship at least once a week in person, and round trip to that location on a weekly basis with including a 20% tip is $45 per week. I know I need to have access to Trader Joe's, and there's no Trader Joe's in sight, but the nearest one is within a 10-mile radius. And if I do that once a month, even though, that's pretty far away, that's only $45 maybe. Again, round trip. The other things that I think about is I recently took a trip to the mall, and I'm going to show you some footage of that. And that was about 10 to 15 miles away, and that cost me about $50 to get to the mall to do a little shopping for the house. So my day-to-day life is not shopping, right? My day-to-day life is not going to Target or, going into grocery stores every day. My day to day life is being in the comfort of my home and having access to places that I can live, work, and play and have a sense of community. So I want you to really think about that. But here's a little trip that I took recently, and then I'll come back and tell you one other thing I want you to think about when you're thinking about moving to a city or even to Dallas without a car. Okay, so today is the day that I do a little bit of shopping in person. Most of the stuff that I've ordered on Amazon Prime. Let's see what's going on in Home Goods. I cashed in some points on my American Express card, so I want to pick up some things from the house. And this is my first day here at this mall. Never been here, don't know where I am, but let's go. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so this Home Goods has a downstairs entrance, and it's pretty big. Wow, this is pretty impressive. So I can't wait to get in here, dig in here, and see what I can find for the house, not only for the holidays, but also for the things that I'm gonna need in the kitchen, etc. So, yeah. Okay, I'm about to leave Home Goods. I mainly picked up stuff for Christmas and decor for Christmas because I'll be with my daughter for Thanksgiving. So I want to partially decorate before I leave for Thanksgiving, and then when I get back on December the 1st, I want to pretty much hit home with all the things that I need to set the house up for Christmas. But all right, so that was a really fun trip. So the last thing I really want you to think about is, where are you right now? Where are you in life? Right now I have to trade sacrifice for purpose. When I moved to New York, back during COVID, I had a car in Phoenix, and I also had won a car on The Price is Right. That is another video. And if you want to ask me any questions in the comments field, jump in, because it is truly a God ordained story. Let me tell you. But so when I lived in Phoenix, I actually had two cars. And then when I moved to New York, I sold them both. And I haven't had a car since. I've always Ubered, or I've occasionally rented cars. So back to, adding up and doing a comparison. When you look at the cost of having your car, once again, including car maintenance, insurance, gas, and having a car note possibly, versus occasionally renting a car, and or Ubering, lifting, or taking a taxi, you'd be surprised that even though people might go, dang, it costs you $60 for an Uber to go grocery shopping. Yeah, but if I'm going to do it for the month, hey, that's actually not bad. And when I did my numbers, on average, I spend about $150 Ubering around town. And so that was worth me making a decision not to get a car. As much as I want a car, and as massive as Dallas is, at this point in time, I can't afford a car. Or I should say, I actually can't afford a car. I am choosing and making wise decisions because, as I mentioned before, I don't want to be rent poor. I don't want to keep burdening myself with debt. A car is a liability, not an asset, unless you buy it outright. So why would I do that to myself? I decided that I am not going to do that. And eventually I probably will. But at this stage in life, or at this point while I live in Dallas, I'm not going to have a car. And you may want to think about that too. So, it's been really interesting, but, not having a car, adjusting to my new life. And now I'm waiting on my stuff. Where is my stuff from New Jersey? So it left New York on a Sunday. And it's supposed to be here in Dallas on Wednesday. So, waiting for that my stuff to arrive. And as you can see, I'm sort of getting prepared for that. I do and will buy more little systems and shelves, but that was sort of the time frame. Now, remember I said that this is a door-to-door delivery, so it cost me $3,900, $3,900. And so I make my last payment when they arrive. So the next video that you see should be all my stuff in here. And this space that I'm going to show you right now in week 3, which is the week 3 reveal, is really the calm before the storm, because all that stuff from my storage unit is going to show up in this space and have to be put somewhere. So Let's take a look at what my apartment looks like now in week 3. All right, y'all, it's week 3, and look, I have a clothing rack system that was built in my room, and I'm going to tell you why I have my clothes here rather than in my closet in just a second. But I had the task rabbit come by, I measured it, it worked out well. In this corner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erect some drawers, some dresser drawers, so that all of the things that you shouldn't be seeing on this video or anybody ever in life, they will be behind closed doors in this in that dresser. So here's my bed, still rocking out with my cardboard night table, still doing what I got to do, humble beginnings, still coming along, but just making the space comfortable with what I got, right? So one of the reasons why I have a clothing system in my bedroom is because if you remember, I have all of that stuff from a 10 by 10 storage unit in New Jersey that's going to be coming here sometime this week. And so I need the closet space as storage. I don't even know how I'm going to get all that stuff in here. A lot of it will be unpacked and put away. A lot of it's kitchen items, quite frankly. But that's the reason why I'm going to have a clothing rack in my bedroom. Bathroom is coming along okay. So here's the kitchen. Not too much has changed in here. You'll see the theme is really coming along. My theme is going to be gray and gold. I'm actually going to be hanging one of the things that I got from Hobby Lobby. Not Hobby Lobby, Lord have mercy. One of the things that I got from Home Goods is I'm going to create a picture wall of pictures here of my family. So I've got these that will be hung there. And then the big thing that I'm really excited about is I've been able to kind of streamline my living room a little bit more. Remember here I had those big boxes where that was pretty much my office and my entertainment center. Well, I've kind of moved it to here, to my counter space. And the theme is going to be gray, gold, and white. So you'll see how that comes along. I still have all the things here. Some of the things, I have these boxes because I'm like, the jewelry's out. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that toaster oven. I think I am. But these are some of the things that are still where the jewelry is out. And of course, today, what you don't know is today I leave to go to Phoenix. I'll be spending Thanksgiving with my daughter and I'll be there. So I have a lot more to tell you. Hopefully my stuff will have arrived. So we'll talk more about that and I'll be able to continue to show you my journey. And I hope that you're blessed by it. So week 3 was not as much of an emotional and mental roller coaster, but I just want to keep reinforcing to you that sometimes you have to do what you need to do now in order to do what you want to do later. Could I go out and buy a car like I mentioned? Yes. Could I go out and use my credit cards and furnish my house? Absolutely. I'm not doing that. I'm making calculated decisions to put myself in the best position to be able not to be burdened by debt by this move. And so even though, I moved here and God put me here, what I do know for sure about God is that what he calls me to or what he calls you to, he will finance if he really called you here. And I know with every fiber in my body that he called me to be in Dallas. And so God's doing a new thing in my life. Is God trying to do something new in your life and you're trying to hold on to old things, old behaviors, old patterns, old people that you don't need in your life anymore or that no longer serve you or that should be in your life, but they just don't need to have that close proximity that they used to have. God's doing a new thing right now. And let me tell you, if you are not gritty, if you are not willing to get in the muck, if you are not willing to be very thankful about your life, you might be in for a roller coaster ride that you didn't ask to go on that is not God ordained, and you won't have the peace that I have, which passes all understanding. So I am excited still about my journey. I will be sharing some things that I do to keep myself in a certain state. I don't wake up this way, just so you know. I do things before I get out of bed to put myself in a certain state and throughout my day to make sure that I am reminding myself that I was called to be here. There is a purpose for my life. This too shall pass because I'm not always going to be on an air mattress, right? This too shall pass. And when I have those moments, quite frankly, where I feel defeated, I'm actually sad sometimes about my old life. I just look forward to and I press into the new things that I know that God has for me, my new life here, my new community, new friends. I'm hoping to meet my husband here. Are you in Dallas? Okay, where are you, Boaz? So I look forward to those moments, and I know that this is just a moment in time on the way to my next journey. I'll see you in week 4, and just know that you can do whatever you want to do if God has called you to it and you are obedient. God bless.